Good day, Industrial Advisors listeners, and thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please do so by clicking subscribe wherever you podcast. Click the like button and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we put up new content. Leave us a comment about anything we discuss here today or general comments about the show. Now, let's get into it.
Welcome to our Industrial Advisors podcast. We have Bill Condon here along with my partner, Matt McGregor, and a very, very special guest today. We have Pete Quinn with the Sansone Group. Pete is their National Director of Industrial Business Development. Pete ran our Colliers Industrial Group for many, many years and very, very good at that job. But I think what I appreciate most about having Pete when he was at Colliers was the friendship that I developed with him, and that we developed with him, and that Pete developed with all of our brokers across the U.S. So, Pete, you're one of my favorite guys in our industry. It's awesome to have you here again.
It's awesome to be here. One of the best things that's happened since I went to Sansone late May was I got to go to the Colliers Industrial Conference, and it was like going to a family reunion, and I look forward to that every year now. So it's not a whole lot has changed. You know, I still talk to a lot of the people I talked to before. Probably just as much in some cases, and some more than I did at Colliers. But it is different. It's been a lot of fun the last few months, and I've enjoyed it a lot.
Well, we miss you and look forward to all your success. I know you're already hitting it out of the park, so congratulations on the new colors.
Thank you very much.
You know, this is the second time you've been on the show. I think a lot of people know you, know your Purdue background, but I thought I'd throw you off a little bit, realizing I might have to edit this out. But tell us about the first time you kissed a girl. The lead up and the whole thing.
No, let's not do the whole thing.
Well, I remember the first girl I kissed about 9 weeks later when I took her back home. No, that's not true. I'm pretty sure it was 7th grade playing Spin the Bottle was the first time.
All right.
Yeah. Good answer.
Good answer for sure. So to kick us off, Pete, tell us how things are going in the U.S. Related with construction and your company.
Sansone is a really, really cool story. And Jeff Greenwalt, who introduced me to Sansone, him and I have known each other for 30 plus years. He was the owner and CEO of a company called Greenfield Builders for years. We did a lot of business together when I was a broker in Indianapolis, literally millions of square feet. And he was just my go-to guy because he got things done when he said he'd get them done. Jeff got out of the business 8-9 years ago, went into the energy sector for a while. And then he got back into the business 3.5 years ago, and Sansone and Jeff found each other. And they really created a perfect storm in the industry. And had a lot of success, a lot of major success. They've built 9 million square feet over the last year and a half. They've got 50 million square feet in the pipeline. And when Jeff first got back in the business, he hadn't been in real estate for a while, so he needed help in different markets. He goes, Pete, I need a broker in Salt Lake City who I work with. So I introduced him to a broker in Salt Lake City, and that happened a few times. So I got to know Sansone a little bit through that. And I said, wow, these guys are getting a lot of deals done. And the partners, Sansone's owned by 4 brothers, and they all look like Hollywood movie stars. They're an amazing family.
So you fit right in with
I
that.
fit, yeah. That movie star thing. They just felt like I was a brother. But the culture was a perfect fit. Jim Sansone, the oldest brother, has 10 kids. 7 of his boys played college football. And
Wow.
you walk into their offices, and their father, who founded the company in 1959, they got a big oil painting of his father, and they've got next to it an American flag. I said, yeah, I can work for these guys.
Love it.
Absolutely.
So we ended up they offered me an opportunity. I jumped on it. I told our CEO at Colliers, Gil, back in February, and he asked me to stay through May. He wanted me to stay through the L&T conference in Charlotte, and I agreed to it because I had nothing but a positive experience with Colliers. It was just a job I loved. I loved the people I was doing it with. I had great relationships with the C-suite up there, but this was an opportunity. It was just too good to pass up. So made the move, and it's been great. And they're doing really, really well. They've got the same challenges all the developers have right now with uncertain times in the economy and the interest rates. You know, you give a company a proposal on Monday, you might have to call them on Wednesday and say, hey, we got to adjust these numbers. But saying all of that, It's still very active. Companies still need to distribute their product. When the rates started doubling during the COVID seasons, they still did deals. They had to have the space.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get through it. There might be less deals as people hesitate before the November elections here in a couple of weeks. But we're going to try to get our share, and we'll be just fine.
Yeah. Well, it's been interesting learning about the company because they were kind of a secret to me until you told me about them, and they got a lot of really good things going. So I'm sure we'll hear more about them as you continue to do deals. So yeah, it has been an interesting year in 2022, and particularly the last 3 months or so. Where do you see with the change that we've seen over the last, call it 90 days, where do you see the biggest opportunities in 2023?
There's a lot of positive things. I'm going to take one step backwards and comment on something you just said, because you said it really well. Sansone is probably one of the best kept secrets in commercial real estate, and part of my job is to change that. But that's the first thing I said when I first came over to Colliers. Yeah, because Colliers had such amazing top of the line industrial experts, and people didn't realize that, and so that was the first thing that I wanted to change, was making sure I just wanted to tell the Colliers story and get out there and go to IWLA and IMC and all the conferences that I went to, which are not easy, as you guys know. Everybody thinks, oh, you have such fun. I said, well, it's fun, but it's a lot of hard work too.
For sure.
And I think we changed that pretty dramatically while I was there. Same thing's going to happen to Sansone, because it has to, because they're doing so much business. People are going to hear their name more and more often. But that is one of my charges, to get out there and tell the Sansone story and talk about what why we're different, what makes us unique, what's our value proposition. But as far as what's going on in the economy, there's negatives, as we see. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. People are putting projects on hold. The feds keep raising the rates to keep the inflation from getting out of control. We do have inflation. A lot of people are concerned we're going to enter into a recession. I think we've been in a recession for 3 months. I don't think we're going to enter into one. But again, saying all that, there's also positive signs. And we've learned some things during COVID that I've been screaming about from the rooftops for 10 years. We've got to bring more manufacturing back to the United States. Yeah. And it's happening.
Yeah, for sure, it's happening.
It is happening, and that's going to lead to in fact, I'm working on a 300,000 square foot manufacturing build-a-suit up in Minneapolis. And so manufacturing, I think companies that were 100%, 90% distribution are going to start looking at manufacturing. They're going to need to stay competitive, but that'll have a positive impact on our distribution networks as well. So there's always going to be activity. It's just, you got to just pay constant attention on what's important to the clients. And 4 years ago, number one would have been the rent. That's not even the top 5 anymore.
That's right.
So you don't have to, rent's important, but it's not what's driving decisions anymore. So understand that, find the best sites, find the labor, try to look into a crystal ball a little bit and see where the economy's going. I do think that we're going to see, after the elections, things are going to loosen up a lot, no matter what happens. If there's a red wave, if there's not a red wave, it'll give the business, everybody in business, they'll give them an idea what's going to happen the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to make decisions based on that.
Yeah, well said. A little less uncertainty after that.
Exactly, because right now a lot of people are predicting a red wave, which would make some really positive changes. But even if that doesn't happen, people still need their product.
That's right.
So I think I'm bullish about the balance of the year and next year, and we have 50 million square feet in the pipeline. So
that's
there's
awesome.
Something going on. Yeah.
Well, I think you've hit on a lot of this, but if you could name 2 things that are kind of the most dynamic things impacting you right now in your company, what are they?
There's no question that it's the challenges that we have right now are not knowing what the rates are going to be and trying to sign deals with math problems in there instead of rental rates. So if this happens, that's a rate. If this happens, that's a rate. And the other one, there's still supply chain issues. When you're building buildings, we're trying to build a freezer cooler building, and there's still an 18-month wait for some components that go into that type of a building. Yeah. So that's a little bit of a challenge. And then the states that always were a challenge to build in might be even more so now. But there's also a lot of opportunity because there's a lot of states that are kind of changing the way they do business because they realize they're losing business. And labor is going to be a constant challenge, and we got to figure that out. I've got a solution, but they won't elect me president of the United States, but I could fix it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'd vote for you.
Yeah.
I think you would if you heard my platform, but unfortunately, too many people would hate me because of my platform, so we'd see what would happen.
Yeah, the labor thing is the one that I think everybody's talking about right now, right? Is how do you fix that? And
I think the answer is really simple, and we've got literally millions of people want to come here.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 2 years ago where we kept the immigrants. You can call them illegal if you want. You don't have to, but keep them in Mexico, vet them there, bring them over, give them the process to become citizens legally. And I think if you did that and you put some thought into, instead of shipping them to Martha's Vineyard, which I thought was hilarious, by the way, but ship them to Indianapolis where they need some labor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let these people have a chance, but give them the ability to become legal citizens instead of I think in the United States we let more legal aliens in than any other country by far. Let's go ahead and double that. And that would solve the problem. I don't think people would have a problem with that. They don't have a problem with immigrants. We're a nation of immigrants. They have a problem with them coming in illegally. So we got two sides that are saying the same thing. We just got to figure out a way to do it that makes a lot of sense.
Well, they certainly have the labor pool down there for sure.
They have the labor pool, and they're willing to work. And everywhere you go, you see people that came from another country working everywhere, and they've got an opportunity here to have a life significantly better than the countries they're coming from. And I get that. Let's just do it in a smart way that's going to keep our country safe and strong.
With the changes that we've seen, because different developers have kind of looked at things differently once the interest rates continued to rise and construction debt was tougher to get. Have you guys changed your strategy at all, other than, hey, we got to shift our underwriting? How are you guys looking at deals right now with the changes we've seen in the last 90 days?
I think the reason Sansone has been as successful as they have been, because 4 years ago, they've been around since 1959, but didn't do a whole lot of industrial. And 4 years ago, you couldn't name 2 industrial projects. Now they're just busting at the seams. I think what made them unique and a big cause for that success is they're very, very aggressively moving forward. They have some goals that they want to be the largest industrial developer in the country. Now, they're not going to catch Prologis, but they could conceivably be the number one developer as far as square footage is developed in 2023, let's say. And during COVID, if you guys remember, nobody knew what it meant when everything was shut down. But a lot of people assumed that their business would be very, very tough, including, I think, everybody at this table. Mm-hmm. When this first happened, everything was shut down. Wow, we're not going to do any deals. And of course, it was the polar opposite, that our business exploded. And I have 2 of our best friends, and we have a home in Naples now that I will be going to on Thursday. And 2 of our best friends that live there, she's a residential broker, and he sells luxury boats and yachts. And when COVID first hit, they said, we just got forced into early retirement. Well, the last 3 years were the 3 best years of their lives. So most of the other developers stopped. They quit buying ground. They sent gay ground back. Sansone did the opposite. And it's not because they're smarter, but they said, look, we're a developer. We develop. Yeah. So they kept going. And I would say out of the 9 million square feet, I think virtually all of it was spec.
Wow.
But it was all leased before it was even 50% completed. So they kind of hit the jackpot. And I think what we're going to do now, and what we are doing now, is we're being very aggressive. We're going out there right now. If we find a good site that makes a lot of sense, we'll go get it. And the other thing that makes Sansone a little bit different is they're so flexible and agile. We're working on a project that some developer had been trying to buy some acres down in the Fort Myer area. And the developer had been working with this seller for 9 months. They'd gone through 25 LOIs, and this broker, who was very frustrated, called me up. He goes, "This is a perfect space, this perfect lot." And he described the land. He sent me the information at 9 o'clock in the morning. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he had a binding letter of intent in his hands. Not many people can do that.
Yeah.
When we were responding to an RFP, we don't have layers of committees that look at every deal. We got a guy.
Yeah.
And that guy was just sitting next to me a few minutes ago. But he can look at a deal, and he's been in the industry for 30 years. He knows if it makes sense.
Sure.
So I think what our strategy is going to be is just keep being ourselves.
Yeah.
Be flexible, be agile, be aggressive, and get out there. And the rent variables we use are going to be the best rent variables you can do. We've got great financial partners, but we can self-finance. We just got the ability just to move quickly. And in the environment the last few years, I think you have to have that ability.
That matters. Yeah, that matters. And I always tell people, I think it's one of the best things about our industry, just commercial real estate in general, is there's always opportunity to be successful, whether you're in a great economy or if the economy is down a little bit. Like, you can always find a way, whether you're a broker, developer, whatever it is, there's always opportunity.
Yeah, it's and one of the cool things about doing what I did with Colliers is I got to see all your numbers. I know how you guys did. And the one thing that was consistent, because there's so many variables and things can be so different from year to year, but the one thing that's consistent, same top 25, 30 brokers were always the same, no matter what the economy is, no matter what the situation is, it's the same people. And it's not rocket science. They have great business plans. They got great work ethics. I'm sure you guys both got up and ran 20 miles at 5 a.m. Now you'll probably be going hard all day. And that's what separates the people that are real successful from the people that aren't. This guy, Jeff Greenwald, eats, drinks, sleeps real estate. He understands real estate. He'll look for a deal. I've seen him, he gets in the office and he stands. And so I stand now, which I didn't think I'd ever do. I made fun of the standers. But he gets there and he's there for 10, 12 hours. And he's never off the phone. He might go shove some food down his throat or something, but I thought I had a great work ethic. So I started working with him. So he's kind of motivated me too. I feel like I'm starting all over again in a lot of ways, but it's exciting to do what we do.
Yeah, I love to hear that strategy that you just outlined that you guys have going on.
Just be very aggressive, be flexible, be agile, and things will happen. And we got to get our name out there. And that's one of the things I love about IMC. He met, in his first night, he met 10 directors of real estate for significant corporations. And I would say at least 7 of them were talking to them about specific deals.
Yeah.
Great.
So, which is another reason they hired me. They bought my Rolodex, basically.
Yeah.
And it was for sale, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, last question for you, Pete. Moving into next year, 2023, give us, kind of the prediction on the industrial market, and maybe, as important as who's going to win the national title in football.
National title in football, I'm starting every day I wake up, and every week you learn a little bit more. Mm-hmm. There's like 5 teams out there that I think are just a cut above everybody else. And you could do a coin flip, but I have to believe this is Ohio State's year. I just don't see any weaknesses. Their third team could beat most of the Big Ten's first team. They're just a cut above. So that's my prediction. It's going to be Ohio State this year. As far as the economy is concerned, I do think I read a lot, and I read a lot of things that people don't even know exist because I like to stay informed. I do think there's going to be a red wave in November. I think it's going to, both houses are going to turn conservative. I think they're going to prioritize the economy. They're going to prioritize the borders, which is going to help the economy. And I think that the first quarter, we're going to start seeing a huge increase in opportunities in our industry. I think next year is going to be a really, really good year.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm gled to hear that because I'm the only one that says that.
No, I believe it. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. And I believe that too. I think it's we got a great country, and most of the people in this country, they want the same things.
Right.
They want an opportunity to have a safe, healthy family. They want to feed their children. Everybody wants the same thing. We just disagree on how to get there. I think that if we can get on the same page after November, I think it could explode. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to that. My prediction, Matt, you didn't ask me, but I'll tell you right now, Super Bowl, and I've been saying it, the Hawks are going to surprise people, and here they are at first place, NFC West, after week 7. So I got the Hawks and the Bills in the Super Bowl, and it's a coin flip game.
Just
but
to
I'm gonna
qualify
go with
this
the Hawks.
for the listeners and Pete, Bill predicts that the Seahawks are going 17-0 and winning the Super Bowl every year. When Russell Wilson got traded, I asked him, and it was the first time, he said 16-1.
Yeah.
So, Bill has the same reputation as I have with Purdue. I picked them I've been doing the broadcasts now for 31 years, and they have a media thing at the beginning where you predict where Purdue will finish. And for 31 years, I said first, and I'm 1-30. So
yeah, you're gonna be right again.
Yeah,
you're gonna
someday.
be right again.
Yeah.
So
my nightmare is I don't pick them one year and they do it, and then I'll feel stupid.
oh yeah,
So-
Right, right.
yeah. Well, awesome. Great to spend time with you as always, and great to have you here. And appreciate you sharing some insights. And look forward to that great year in 2023 that you were talking about.
Well, we'll have it, and it's always a pleasure to be with you guys. And I will get out to Seattle to see you at some point, but we got 2 more days here, so let's take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Pete.
Pete.
Thanks, guys.